Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and brought to you with emotion, passion, and of course, my comments, along with his comments. Mundungus Creevy, wherever he's at, right there. Anyways, we were supposed to have a special guest tonight. That's been pushed back a week due to family situations. So, and graduations and football games and soccer and all that kind of stuff. So we will get to that next week. In the meantime, I have Mundungus Creevy with me to go over what the title says: best defensive plays in Broncos history, along with other topics. So, how was your day today, Mike?
Not too bad. I just got here from work, and obviously I'm not as great a guest as what we were going to have. But we'll circle back. We'll figure it out. There was some miscommunications here and there. He's doing stuff from work. I was doing stuff from work. We just missed each other. It was like whoosh. And so we'll figure it out.
We'll get it done. Get her done.
Get her done.
We'll do it. Okay, so what do you think about the draft before we get into the actual defense?
Wow, we're just going right to the draft.
Well, we'll circle back.
So you look at the draft and the players we got, right? We only had 5 picks. Mm-hmm. But if you look at every single draft pick, I think there's a consensus around the NFL and fans, teams, whoever, that Drew Sanders was the steal of the draft. Mm. We heard from rookie minicamp, right? The dude is playing way beyond a third round pick. I'm pretty sure that he was rated as a first round linebacker.
Right.
That went in the third round. That's how good this guy's going to be. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited for Mims too, man. I think.
And all of them are signed now. We officially signed all of our rookies.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's fantastic, man. I really do. I'm excited. I can't wait for the season to start. The only question that I have, and I've had it all off season, and that is Russell Wilson really going to be that much better under Sean Payton? If Sean Payton can, what's the name said, the coach for the then St. Louis Rams, what was his name? Back in yesteryear, the coach of St. Louis Rams.
Yesteryear?
Yeah. He won. Dick Vermeil said of Sean Payton, if Sean Payton cannot fix Russell Wilson can't be fixed. That's basically what he said. That's pretty high praise right there.
13-4, baby.
I still cannot fathom where you're getting the 4 from. All right. Avatar says, what's up, Broncos country and Avalanche fanatics and Nuggets town? Yes, absolutely on Nuggets town. Can you believe it, guys? They're up 2-0. I love it. Love it. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I hate the Lakers. I hate every California team. So,
right. Well, and before we go any farther, obviously the sad news, the big news coming out of the NFL today, mm-hmm. Jim Brown passed away. Obviously, the NFL would not be the NFL that we have today if not for Jim Brown. So condolences to his family, to his friends, players, teammates, everybody. He definitely will be missed.
Absolutely. 87 years old too. And do you realize that he cut his career short because he was he wanted to go into acting, which I understand he was in 30 different movies or shows or whatever.
He was in a lot.
As well as being an activist. He was very, very prominent in the civil activizate or whatever the word is, but you know,
activization. We'll just make that a word. Activization.
Just make it up, like I always do, anyways. But
add it to the dictionary. Activization.
And just like what was that one we did during the hockey?
I don't want to know.
Nope. Anyways, but no, Jim Brown was definitely. I would say he was an innovator and an eye opener, or not an eye opener. What's the word I'm looking for? Or as Bill would say, young. Yeah, thanks, Glenn. That's probably very true. Yeah, he was a leader in what the NFL is today for running backs. I mean, the guy was just a beast, absolutely a beast. Yeah, Glenn says,
I think like Activision. I think you can safely say that the majority of people that rank like, and you're never going to get the same answer from everybody on who's the best of all time in running backs or quarterbacks or whatever.
right.
I think that there's a very good chance that the majority of people are going to put Jim Brown top 3.
Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
there's a very good chance of that.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. Well, if you think about it, when people say, "Well, was this quarterback or that running back or that receiver the greatest of all time?" I have to say you have to break it down within that particular era. You can't say that Johnny Unitas was better than John Elway. Johnny, you know what I'm saying? You can't. I mean, that's apples and oranges. Two different type of styles of playing football back in the day.
I don't know. That's hard. Like if all you're gonna go by is stats, then yes, you can't really compare quarterbacks. But if you go by like how dominant they were in their era, or
Sure.
how dominant they were over other teams, or how they were as a leader, or things like that, like then you can be like, okay, like you could take him out of this era, put him in this era, and he'd be just fine.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I don't know, but I do think like Jim Brown. I don't think it would have mattered. Like you put Jim Brown on a team, he's gonna run all over you. Doesn't matter who you are. So,
Well,
um,
I know we're talking about, we're going to talk about defensive play, but now that you brought up the top 3, my question to you is this. If you say that Jim Brown on any team could make that team better, what are the other 2, in your opinion, that could do the same?
well, except for the Texans.
Well,
The Texans are awful. I'm just kidding. Okay, me personally, I think you put Barry Sanders on any team, he's going to make it better.
Okay.
Because you look at the line that he was running behind in Detroit, he didn't have one. Like you could have put a bunch of paper bags in front of him, and he still would have gotten the same amount of yards.
Right.
So I think Barry Sanders is one. Boy, and if you
Glenn
got
says Barry Sanders too.
yeah, and if you go with like running backs that would improve any team no matter who they are, man, it's a toss up for me between Walter Payton and Terrell Davis.
A toss up?
Yeah, because
Wow.
I think Walter Payton would have the power to be able to do that. But I think that Terrell Davis has a better cut and then run. You know what I mean? Like he has like Walter Payton's got the power to run over you, whereas Terrell Davis has the vision to be able to cut and then go. I don't know. I love Terrell Davis to death, but I don't know how well Terrell Davis would have ran behind like the Lions line. You know what I mean? Like you put Terrell Davis with the Barry Sanders Lions, and I don't know if Terrell Davis is Terrell Davis. You know what I mean?
Well, I understand what you're saying, but have you forgotten what Terrell Davis did against the number 1 defense of the Packers in Super Bowl 32?
Right, but he also had a top 5 offensive line. That's what
sure.
I'm saying. Is like if you take Terrell Davis, and again, I love Terrell Davis, but if you take Terrell Davis off of the Broncos and put him on another team that might not have as good a line, you might not get the 2,000 yards. You might not get the
but that could be with any team. That could be with any running back.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you look at 3 running backs that would have changed the team no matter what, you're looking at Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, and probably Walter Payton.
Yeah, and not Gale Sayers?
I don't know, man. You only got like 5 years of Gale Sayers, maybe less. I think Walter Payton's better than Gale Sayers.
Okay.
My personal opinion. Other people have different opinions. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you're throwing out, Hall of Fame names. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, seriously. That's why they're in the Hall, because of what they did for their respective teams. It's just, I don't know, man. The topics we're going to talk about tonight are in the same category of, what's your favorite, what's your best, what's what equated to or equal to some other plays by some of the teams. It's just there's just so many to choose from.
And even with Nick not being here, we were going to have Nick Ferguson on the show. We did get his favorite defensive play of all time, so we do have that, so we can, even though he can't talk into it, we still have the video, so what his is. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that would have been great to get his take.
We'll have to get his reaction after.
Absolutely. Okay, so do we want to do this individually? Like I'll name one, and then we'll talk about your name, or do you want to run through? How do you want to do it? It don't matter to me.
I don't know. Let's do. Okay, so obviously we're gonna play the plays that we've picked as far as what we think are top 5 defensive plays for the Broncos. We obviously want to hear what you guys think.
Exactly.
So throw out there which ones you have. But we'll go ahead and we'll start with I think probably a play that everybody knows by a player that everybody knows. And here it is.
Okoye up the middle. And he is knocked dead in his tracks. What a hit. Atwater. Wow, what a sock by Atwater.
When Christian came through there and Steve stopped him in his tracks and bent him backwards, we could hear that from the sideline. I mean, I think it stopped everything.
Wow.
Dude, the Steve Atwater hit on Christian Okoye, dude. That was a big hit, and that's a big dude.
My absolutely one of my all-time favorite defensive plays. And here's the reason why. Not because it was a tackle, but it was a tackle against Christian Okoye, who had never to that point been knocked backwards. I mean, he was called the Nigerian Nightmare for a reason. And Atwater said, "Nightmare, I'll show you what a nightmare is, dude," along with the headache. That to me, and then for Atwater to stand over him and go, "Yeah." Oh, man.
Just how big was Christian Okoye? Because, he looks big, but at the same time, in the 90s, the pads were huge.
Well,
So, how big was Okoye is what I want to know. Are we talking a Mike Allstott size? Are we talking a Brandon Jacobs size? How big of a back was he?
I don't know, but I will tell you this. When he lowered his head to hit Atwater, and Atwater held his ground, and if you watch that video again, he went backwards. He didn't just stop and fall forward. He stopped and went backwards. That was a tremendous hit. And to be able to hear it like that on the microphone, holy cow. That to me was beyond impressive because
6'1", 253.
Wow.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
That was phenomenal. That was absolutely hands down my single defensive hit. Well, I tell you back. I take it back. Alongside of that would be the Steve Atwater hit. And I know you don't have the video for this because it's no big deal. But the Atwater hit in Super Bowl 32 when he knocked out his own player. Hilliard. When he knocked out Hilliard on that play down the middle that would have probably put the Packers into the championship because it was or even tied or probably tied at that time. But the point I'm making is Atwater was a hitter, and the guy was just, in key moments. Yeah, I would tell you what, if I were going to start a defense with a player that wanted to make an impact, I would start it. If obviously going back yesteryear, I would start it with Steve Atwater. Absolutely.
Well, and Steve Atwater is no small, 6'3", 218. That's big.
Yeah, but not as big.
253.
Yeah.
That's a big boy.
And to knock him backwards was impressive. Yeah, absolutely, no doubt.
6'1", 250. Good night. Avatar says, my favorite play was a game-winning touchdown pass by Tebow to Thomas and against Fields. Oh yeah. And we'll get to offensive plays in another episode. That's down the pipe because it's off season, man. There's nothing going on until we get to training camp, which I'm excited for.
What's yours,
Bill? What's my what?
Oh, go ahead. I thought you were going to do your topic. Just Atwater was mine.
Oh, was it? Oh, that was yours. Okay, we'll do mine. And everybody's going to know why I picked this one.
Dedrick Dodge and Darius Johnson come in at the defensive back positions. The throw. John Mobley broke it up. And the Broncos are celebrating on the near sidelines.
Phil, they sold out. They ran a full-scale blitz at him.
Everybody blitzed with 2 defensive backs injured and out of the game. They send the ball. It makes Green Bay throw the ball before they want. It's knocked down.
Atwater. It was Atwater.
That was my favorite defensive play for the Broncos because John Mobley is my favorite Bronco ever.
Can you explain?
He was able to deflect the pass and help secure the Super Bowl for the Broncos. The first one for Elway, the first one for Atwater, the first one for so many awesome players.
So let me ask you, why is Mobley your favorite player of all time?
It's okay. It has absolutely nothing to do with like stats or anything like that. So the first Broncos game I ever went to, my dad took me when I was like a sophomore. I was like 15. And I remember we drove all night to get there, slept a couple hours, woke up, went to breakfast. And I don't remember where we went, but it was up on a hill. You could see Invesco at the time, Invesco. And it was when Invesco and Mile High were side by side because they hadn't taken Mile High down yet. And when I was eating breakfast, I could see Invesco. I could see the banners that were running down the stadium.
Yep.
And John Mobley was on one of them.
Nice.
And then when we got to the game, I got the program, and John Mobley was on the cover.
Oh,
and so like I've always been like, ooh, John Mobley.
And then when he knocked the pass down, that was icing on the cake for you. Obviously, icing on the cake for all of us.
And this was because when I was a sophomore, it would have been like 2001. So Mobley would have been 3 years away from retiring because of the injury.
Right.
So that had already happened. But John Mobley is my favorite player ever.
Nice. I like a couple of things from the chat. Buana B says, my play, it's a TD returned by Neil Smith for a touchdown. That's cool.
That's not the special teams one, is it?
No, I don't think Neil Smith was on special teams, was he? I don't think he was. No. I think that was a fumble, and he recovered it and ran it for a touchdown. I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, Avatar, we're going to talk about this one too as well. No doubt about it.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, but no, the Mobley one, obviously a deflected pass isn't really that big of a thing. But when it secures you your first Super Bowl win, like that changed the entire landscape of the Broncos. So absolutely. I think that was a pretty landmark play right there.
Yeah, and that goes along with the Atwater hit that I was saying, because that was just prior to the Atwater hit was actually 3rd down, and the Mobley one was 4th down. So those back-to-back defensive plays were the reason why. Well, one of the main reasons why the Broncos won. I mean, Terrell Davis running for 157 yards was obviously another one. There's no doubt about that. So, all right. So
let's get right into what Avatar was talking about.
Yep.
And the Panthers have a 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure, and they've gotten to him. The ball is out in the end zone, and it's recovered by Malik Jackson for the touchdown. It was Vaughn Miller with the strip sack, and Jackson with the recovery. A meeting here of the 1st and 2nd picks of the 2011 draft. Newton 1st, Miller 2nd. It's a 3rd and 9. Rushing 4, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground and still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line. Vaughn Miller did it again.
No idea why that was still in there. I cut that out, but whatever.
Anyways,
whatever.
The main reason why I love this, obviously, it's twofold. The reason why I really love these 2 particular plays, obviously, it's Super Bowl, which means everything. But for Von Miller to do it in bookends, so to speak, I mean, it was the first sack that resulted in a direct touchdown by Jackson, obviously put the Broncos in the lead. And then the last one that was recovered and Broncos eventually went in for a touchdown. That was icing on the cake. Without, in my opinion, without those two plays in the Super Bowl, the Broncos don't win.
Von Miller did more stripping that day than a Gold Club employee. I was talking about the other strip sack, dude. We included both because you can't really pick one of those out. It's got to be both. Like I was gonna put more in there of the Super Bowl because there were so many plays that Von Miller had in the Super Bowl, but I just went with the strip sacks. I still want to know why Cam did not dive for that ball. Like,
I think he was scared.
You're in the Super Bowl, dive for the ball. You're down by 6. What I like ever since that game.
Yep.
Ever since that game, Cam Newton has not been the same.
Nope.
Like,
I'll tell you what.
And now he's what, third string?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I'll tell you what. If John Elway in Super Bowl 32 does not dive and get that whirly bird play against Green Bay that get the first down, then in my opinion, the Broncos wouldn't have won that game. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, because Cam Newton basically did the same thing. He basically stepped back and goes, I'm not taking that chance. I'm not going to take the chance to get hurt. I'd rather save my body than win a championship. Is basically what he was saying.
Like, yeah, I'll be John back Elway to the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah.
How you want?
And John Elway didn't say that. John Elway said, "No, I'm doing it." In fact, after he did that word board, he's like, "Yeah." Like, I mean, he wanted it. Cam Newton didn't want it, and Von Miller wanted it more. So, yeah, great plays. Great plays.
Avatar. Hey, Avatar. Guess what?
He's back in the shotgun. The ball at the 5-yard line. Brady flushed and throws on the run. Pass going to be intercepted. Champ Bailey in the end zone. Down the sideline. Bailey. 30, 40, foot race. Bailey steps out of a tackle. Champ Bailey, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Did he get there? He's hit out of bounds, I think, at the 1. Brady was flushed out by Nick Ferguson. Tom rolling to his right, threw the ball into the end zone, intended for Troy Brown. Champ Bailey, with his 9th interception of the year, had it in one hand and was racing down the west sideline. He stepped out of a tackle and got knocked out of bounds at the Patriot 1-yard line.
The longest.
Yeah.
Nick
and
Ferguson flushed him out.
That's one of the reasons why it would have been awesome if we were able to get Nick here on the show, is to get his reaction.
Well, we will.
With the video.
We will. We're going to have it.
We will. But yeah, it was Nick Ferguson getting in Tom Brady's face, going for the sack. Doesn't get it, but Champ Bailey intercepts the ball, runs 98 yards. I can't believe he caught him.
I know. Well, did you see the other defenders slowing down? The other defenders that were blocking, they slowed down. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Nick's looking around like, okay, we're good to go. And then that one just right out of nowhere.
Yep. Yeah, that was
Brady's face.
That was crazy. That was crazy because if you think about it, most defenders will just keep on running all the way to the end zone. These defenders stopped, and Champ Bailey was on an island by himself, and he was just running out of gas, dude. I mean, he was just literally running out of gas.
Tight end caught him.
Yeah.
Did he? Who was the tight end?
It would
have been the Patriots, and it would have been.
Would that have been
early?
That would have been. Would that have been Hernandez?
Late 2000s.
Not Hernandez.
No, I don't think so. Oh, was it Ben Watson?
Oh, probably Watson. Yeah.
Ben Watson caught him. That's a big dude.
Yeah. Well, Champ Bailey was slowing down, and his defenders were slowing down, and he was just gassed. I mean, he picked it off, 2 yards deep in the end zone?
Ben Watson chasing down Champ Bailey like DK Metcalf.
Exactly. Oh, shoot, man. Yeah, that to me was one of my favorite. I just wish you would have gotten the test on, obviously. But to pick off Tom Brady like that and then run that distance, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
And then the last video that we've got was actually Nick's pick. I asked him what his favorite defensive performance or play was, and he told me it was the Delta O'Neal's 4 interceptions against the Chiefs. So here we go.
Kansas City's won the last 4 times these teams have played, Tom. Trent Green looking for scoop minutes. Picked off by Delta O'Neal. Both cheeks in. Leads to a field goal, 10-6 at the half. Trent Green looking downfield, picked off. Delta O'Neal, his second. Fourth quarter, 13-6. Trent Green picked off Delta O'Neal. He could go all most of the way down to the 5. His third interception. Bobby Bell went in for defense. It wasn't allowed. 20-6. Trent Green throwing downfield, picked off by Delta O'Neal. 4 interceptions. Ties an NFL record. It's been done 18 times, but he's in the books. So Denver's defense spurs a 20-6 win.
Wow.
Delta O'Neal ties the record for most interceptions in a game with 4.
Wow. Look at that. Avatar says he has O'Neal's jersey.
So jealous. And like that time frame was when I had gotten into football the most. Like Delta O'Neal, Al Wilson, Ian Gold, John Mobley. Like all those players are the ones that like you start throwing in names like Ashley Lee, Brian Greasy, like Mike Anderson. These are the guys where I was like, yes, I was huge. I was a huge Broncos fan then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I tell you what, I remember that game now. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, I remember that. That it just seemed like every time Green went back to throw a pass, O'Neal was in the area to pick it off. It was just crazy, man. It was just one of those,
Well, and I will say this, and this is one of those things that we talked about in the 5280 was I brought up like who's the hardest hitting safety in Broncos history. It was like you look at that Steve Atwater hit against Christian Okoye, huge hit. But you also can't like Brian Dawkins. He would hit you so hard, like you would go back in time. And then John Lynch, can't take anything away from him either. He was a hard hitter too.
How about Dennis Smith?
Dennis Smith.
Yep.
There's just so many hard hitting safeties that you have. And like I was trying to find, because like when you go back and you look and you think of like defensive plays for the Broncos, you go back and you look into certain players like Dennis Smith, Brian Dawkins, Delta O'Neal, Al Wilson, Ian Gold, all these. I was looking into Derek Wolfe. I was looking into Von, like all these players, because there's so many defensive players that have had so many good plays. But I tried to keep it to franchise altering or game altering or season altering defensive plays, right? Like the John Mobley one, the Steve Atwater one, that like everyone will know about Steve Atwater because of that Christian Okoye.
Hey, my gosh. Where you been, Kamani? Holy smokes, dude. I know you got a wedding around the corner, or you had it, or you're going to have it sometime soon. But, man, we missed you. Missed you on the show. Glad you're back. We
really, really did. Yes, we
How come we're on,
did. I have no idea. Why would...
How did it switch?
I'm not sure.
Scuba Steve, damn you!
I think it's because you hit it. Got it. Okay. I was like, how can it switch, man? It's like, this ain't Avalanche. I got it. It's on the neighborhood. Okay, got it. Yep. You're talking about, would you put, as far as hard hitting safeties, would you put Justin Simmons in that too? Or not yet? No, you wouldn't.
I put Kareem Jackson in there as far as hard hitting safeties. If you're talking about like best safety, then I'd put Justin Simmons in there. But if you're talking hard hitting, no, I don't think so. I think Kareem Jackson you can put in there. I don't think Justin Simmons you put in there. I'm not saying he doesn't hit hard, but like
I know if he hit me, it'd feel hard.
Like Brian Dawkins was hitting people like Ray Lewis would hit people. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like huge hits.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Justin isn't hard hitting. He's an interception machine. He's more of your coverage safety.
True. Yeah. I'll give you that. Let's go to, I know we didn't have this on the list, but I'm just going to throw it out there, see what you think. What's the best special teams play that you can remember for the Broncos that was either game-changing or game-tying or game-winning? I mean, it could be historical too, like a field goal.
It's actually well, there's two, and this is because I was going through all the videos trying to find the defensive play.
Mm-hmm.
One would obviously be the 63-yard Elam field goal,
Right.
but two would actually be a Delta O'Neal kick return for a touchdown.
Really?
And if I'm not mistaken, it was against the Chiefs.
Wow.
I want to say it was the same game.
Okay. It wouldn't surprise me the way that game was going.
it was either against the Chiefs or the Chargers. It was one of the two. But yeah, it was. He got he went into the pile and then kind of disappeared, and then you just see him squirt out.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Mine would have to be yep, there it is. That's it. Glenn just said it. So back to back. So for those who want to know what this is, it's the Chargers at the Broncos 1985. And it was the Charger team that would light up the scoreboard with 40 some odd points almost every week. Broncos forced the Chargers into overtime, and it came down. The Chargers won the toss. It came down, and they were like prime position for a field goal, and it was blocked by Dennis Smith. Who was Dennis Smith? Dennis Smith blocked it, and it was scooped up by Louis Wright. And he started to run for a touchdown, and the referees are waving it off because the Broncos had called a timeout. So now Bob Thomas, the Charger field goal kicker at the time, had a reprieve, a second chance to win the game in overtime. And it was blocked again by Dennis Smith, recovered this time by Louis Wright with a wide open field in front of him, and he was not going to be caught. And the Broncos won it in overtime, 30-24. Amazing game, absolutely amazing. If you guys get a chance to see that on YouTube, look it up. 1985 Chargers at Broncos. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Great game. That's my favorite special teams play. Absolutely.
Nope, I agree with you. I was just looking for the video, trying to pull it up.
If you can find it, do it, because it was spectacular, man. I don't know how long it take you to do it, but I don't have any.
Longer than we are.
Huh? How what? Bawana B said the Simmons block for the Saints that Will Parks took back was pretty fun. Yeah, that's true too.
And I will say this: like you're talking special teams plays, you got to put Shelby Harris in there.
Shelby Harris with what?
Shelby Harris with all of his blocks.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I can't even pick out one because they all came at the exact time we needed one. Like he had what season was that?
I agree, Glenn.
Was it 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, where it was like we'd get into these close games and we need to have a stop, and then his hand gets in the way and blocks the ball. Like, it seemed to happen every single time we needed it.
Yep. And where is he now?
Seattle.
Yeah.
Wait, did he sign back with Seattle?
I didn't hear it. I didn't know that he was undrafted. I mean, that he was an unrestricted free agent.
I'm not sure whether he's under contract or not.
Did he only sign?
I don't remember.
I was just bummed he's gone. He was straight up the middle, man. He was great.
So Bill, let's talk about the schedule release.
Okay.
So now that we've got the defense, now that we've got the defensive plays out of the way, which you always love looking at Broncos history. It's awesome. And when we do the offensive ones, that's going to be hard to narrow down to 5.
Yeah.
So we might just have a shit ton of videos. And be like, we have 17.
Exactly. Exactly. The whole show would just be a video screen, man.
Just a video and then pop in next and then go. Hold on. Let me see if I've got. I think I have.
I want to know where you come up with 13-4, my friend. I mean, I would hope the heck. Kamani says 11-6. Kamani, 11-6. Okay. All right, Kamani. I need to know exactly where your 6 losses are, and I don't know if you have the schedule in front of you, but I'm going to run them off not real quick, but I'm going to run them off. So here we go, Kamani. Take notes. Ready? First game, at home against the Raiders, followed by at home against Washington, on the road at Miami, on the road at Chicago, at home against the Jets, a primetime at Kansas City, home against Green Bay, home against the Chiefs, a bye week in week 9. At Buffalo, primetime Monday night. At home against the Vikings, Sunday night primetime. At home against Cleveland. At Houston. At LA Chargers. At Detroit Lions. At home against New England. And at home against the Chargers. And then on the road to end the season at the Raiders. So where in heaven's name do you get 6 losses? I mean, yours is easier to get 6 losses than Mike's is to get 4. I still can't figure that out.
Okay, so Kamani, I'm just going to take a guess. I'm going to assume that one of those losses is Miami. I'm going to assume that one of those losses is Kansas City.
Okay.
I'm going to assume a loss is Buffalo.
Yep.
I'm going to assume a loss is Minnesota, which means you think we're losing 2 in a row.
Wow.
I'm going to assume
there it is
right there. Jets, really? The
Chiefs,
Jets and
Dolphins,
the Chargers.
Jets, Bills, Chiefs twice. We're not beating the Chiefs again this year, huh? And we're sweeping the Raiders. Okay. But we're not losing to
that Jets one is interesting to me.
Why? Because it's Aaron Rodgers, dude.
Yeah, but it's not okay. So, like, when the last year or two of Drew Brees, right?
Right.
Like, you look at the schedule, you see the Saints, and you're like, oh my God, Drew Brees, right? Like, you're going to lose to Drew Brees. But Drew Brees of the last 2 seasons that he played was not the same Drew Brees from like 5 years before that.
Sure.
Like, I think when you look at the Jets, you're like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers. But it's more of the name than it is how well he's playing. Because like last year, he was awful.
Well, he didn't have Hackett because Hackett was on the Broncos screwing our freaking team.
He also didn't have any good wide receivers. He also didn't Aaron Jones was hurt for part of the season. The defense sucked. Like, he didn't have anything. And with the Jets, I think he's got more weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I think the AFC is more competitive than the NFC. So he's going to be playing more difficult teams. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the Jets they might surprise me, but I'm not scared of the Jets.
I got a question for Kamani. Why does he think, and also for you, Mike, why do you guys think we're going to lose to Miami? Who's Miami have?
I think it depends on Tua.
A banged up Tua that doesn't have.
I think it depends on Tua. If Tua plays, they are a much better team than if Tua doesn't play. Because, I mean, like, aside from the head injuries, like, Tua would have been a top 5 quarterback this year if he hadn't missed those games. Like,
you think he's really that good?
I think he can be with the right surrounding cast, and I think that he has that in Miami. I think that Mike McDaniels has shown he's a good coach. I think that the offense is tailored for Tua, and with the defense the way that it played last year, and now with the upgrades from the offseason, I think Miami could be a really good team.
And you don't think the Broncos defense, which was pretty solid last year, obviously, to keep us in the games that were so pathetic, you don't think that our defense could stop the Dolphins?
I don't know. And this is why I say that. I know that we're returning a lot of the defensive players we had last year, but we also had Evero last year running Fangio's system. And this year we're going to have Vance Joseph, who is not running Fangio's system. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's a I don't know thing. Like, the Broncos defense, even when Vance Joseph was head coach, was not bad.
True.
Do I think that it was top 5 in the NFL? No. But I think, and this is where, like, all of this comes into play, because it's like, I think that we still have the defensive talent to be a top 3 defense, but it depends on what we're getting as coaches, right? Like, I think that Vance Joseph could have been a good head coach had he not had other stuff going against him. John Elway. But sorry. At the same time, he wasn't really a proven defensive coordinator at that point.
Mhm.
And I don't think that he's really shown that the defenses that he's had can be a top 5 defense yet. But he hasn't really had a defense that was stacked like the Broncos defense is. He's shown that he can develop players. He's shown that he can get take Budda Baker.
Mhm.
Like Budda Baker was on a whole nother level when Vance Joseph came into Arizona. So I don't know. I think that we're going to see a lot of good development. I don't know what we're going to see from the defense. That's my only concern. Is like I don't know.
Right. I kind of have a tendency to think what Kamani's saying right now. He says he doesn't think Vance Joseph's going to last the season. I know Vance Joseph is a defensive coordinator. I don't know, man. It feels to me like a retread. Okay, he was a head coach. Wow, that didn't work out. Let's bring him back as defensive coordinator. I'm still skeptical as to why we brought him as defensive coordinator, not somebody else.
Well, I will say this. When you look at the Cardinals' defenses over the last couple of seasons, let's just look at last year, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the games that the Cardinals were in was because of the defense. Because Kyler Murray was injured, then their backup quarterback was injured, then their backup got injured.
Mm-hmm.
They had kind of the same injury problems the Broncos had, right? But a lot of the reason for the Cardinals being in games was because of the defense. And I think when you look at Sean Payton, right? When you look at his history with the Saints, he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a dominating defense. None of the seasons he had with the Saints was the defense dominant, but the defense was top 15.
Okay.
And they were able to keep you in games.
Right.
And then the offense would come out and win the game.
I
think that's all he's looking for.
Right. Well, my concern is this. If the Broncos defense, my philosophy is if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, the Broncos defense last year was really good, like I mentioned, to keep us in games that we should have won but didn't. And I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. But so if Vance Joseph comes in, why would he why would he not want to keep the same type of scheme? Or does he not know it? You would think he would know it.
Well, it's not the fact that he wouldn't know it. Obviously, every coach is going to know multiple ways of doing something, right? Every offensive coach is going to know how to do a spread or an option or just your basic pro offense where you got the two running backs side by side like old school. They're all going to know how to do the RPOs and screens and every coach is going to know how to do that, right? But every coach is going to specialize in something. So with Vance Joseph, I'm not sure what he's going to run. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay at 3-4. I don't believe we're switching to a 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at this point in the NFL, I don't think that really matters. 3-4, 4-3 kind of intermingle, so they're kind of the same thing because you just pick a base package and then you can run different things out of that. So I don't know if that really matters. But for example, you one of your big things was you wanted to keep Evero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at it from the point of view of what just happened with the Broncos last year, right? Was Hackett a good fit with Wilson?
No.
So if Evero didn't stay, do you think potentially it's because Peyton and Evero weren't a good match?
Probably, yeah.
Because we can sit here and say I wish we would have kept Evero. Well, what if Evero and Peyton weren't a good match? Because every head coach is going to want their guy. They're going to want the guy that fits what they want to do. Well, if Evero doesn't fit what he wants to do, then
true. I agree.
I don't know. But at the same time, Sean Payton was tied with Fangio, and Fangio's scheme is basically what Evero ran. So I don't know.
But Wannabe says Evero's scheme was Fangio's to some degree. So there you go. I mean, it seems like Fangio's tree is growing more and more.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if the decision was made on Evero's part to leave, partially because of Hackett leaving.
Yep.
Which loyalty is admirable. I get it. cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that at times Denver can be tougher than other teams to be a coach with,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like no matter who you are and no matter what position you hold, there's expectations when it comes to being a Denver Bronco.
True.
And I think that Evero is where he would prefer to be or should be with Carolina, especially with a new coaching staff, new players, new scheme. I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But like Evero made a decision, he didn't want to stay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what Vance Joseph can do. I want to see if he can get our defense to those levels. I hope he does. He's a cool guy. I like him. I like Vance Joseph.
Okay, let's backtrack to what Kamani said, and I want to find out where you're coming up with yours, Mike. Kamani says 11-6. You already got his teams that he thinks we're going to lose to. You're going 13-4. For heaven's sake!
So I will say this. I think that Denver's bottom line, like the worst they will do, is 11-6.
That's the worst?
That's the worst. But I'm a very optimistic guy.
Well, so am I.
So
but
I think
was
that the
optimistic
worst
last year. And
I think the worst that they do is 11-6, and the best is 13-4.
All right. Where's your 4 losses?
I think one is going to be Miami.
Wow, you're saying Miami again. Wow.
I think one is going to be Kansas City, and it's probably at Kansas City.
Right. I agree.
I think one's going to be Buffalo because it's at Buffalo.
Of course.
And I think
in November.
And I think the surprising one is going to be Detroit. And the reason why I say that is because Detroit had the number 1 offense last year.
Do you realize that you picked all 4 get losses on the road? You're saying we're gonna sweep at home. We got 9 home games this year.
I think we will. I
got
think
9 home games.
I think we're going to sweep the Chargers. I think we're going to sweep the Raiders. And I think that the losses we have are all on the road.
Yeah, that's what you said. At Miami, at Kansas City, at Buffalo, and at Detroit. Wow.
And I think there's 3 reasons for that Detroit one. One is because that's the 3rd game in a row on the road, because they got to go to Houston, to California to play the Chargers, and then to Detroit. So I think they're going to lose that 3rd one. The second reason is because, again, last year Detroit had the number 1 offense, and I think they've gotten better. Maybe
over Kansas City.
What?
Better number 1 offense. Kamani agrees with you.
Oh yeah, they had a better offense than Kansas City.
Kamani agrees with you.
Points scored in yards, it was Detroit by a lot. But they did get better defensively, and the defense was letting them down last year, and that's why my second reason is like they had the number 1 offense, and I don't think they got any worse. The third reason is because their defense, I think, can at least hold them close to other teams.
Okay.
So I think, I don't know. I'm excited to watch the Raiders lose twice. Once at the beginning of the season, once at the end of the season. It's going to be awesome. I think we're catching the Chargers at the end of the season, which is when they usually fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we break the streak. I think we beat Kansas City this year.
Okay. On Sunday night.
Sunday night in Denver.
No. That's at Kansas City. That's an afternoon. Yeah. The Thursday night is at Kansas City.
I think we go into the bye week on a win over Kansas City. And then we come. And I think that Buffalo.
Well, we got Kansas City 2 out of the last 3, two out of 3 games right before the bye. Week 6 and week 8.
I think that we lose at Kansas City, but it's going to be close, like 3 to 7 points. And then we beat Green Bay.
That should be easy.
Good Lord, everyone's going to beat Green Bay. And then I think that I think the Kansas City comes to Denver, and we finally beat Kansas City in Denver, and we go into the bye on a win. And then we go to Buffalo, and Buffalo's wasn't as good last year as I thought they were going to be. So I think that even if we lose to Buffalo, it's going to be by like 3.
Wow. But it's at Buffalo at night in
Monday night.
November. Come on, man. It's going to be about 14 feet of snow. I mean,
Maybe.
good gosh. It's going to be crazy, dude. If it ain't snowing, it's going to be cold as ice. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So okay. So if we're looking, let's say that we're looking at this pessimistically, right? Pessimistically?
Yeah.
Let's say we're looking at it in a negative way, right?
That's pessimistic.
Like all of the games that we could potentially lose, right?
Right. Well, that's 17.
So let's say that Josh McDaniels surprises us. Well, we lose. Let's say that we split each AFC. That's 3 losses right there. You lose one to the Raiders, one to the Chiefs, one to the Chargers, right? So then let's go with Miami. Let's go with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Let's go with Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Minnesota. Let's go Cleveland. Let's go Detroit, and let's go New England. We could be looking at 7-10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do I think we'll go 7-10? Absolutely not.
No, I don't either. Kamani says it's going to be 31-27. We lose to Kansas City in Kansas City, but then we beat the Chiefs in Denver 29-24.
Yeah,
could
potentially. Be. And and again, it doesn't seem like it matters with Kansas City because they've got Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they lost Juju Smith-Schuster. They didn't really add a good wide receiver. Their running game is meh. Their offensive line got worse. They lost Orlando Brown. So I don't know. I think. Oh, and we have no idea what the offense is going to do without Eric Bieniemy. He's gone now.
Yep.
We have no idea what actual say or pull he had in that offense.
Oh, now Kamani's saying we lose both Kansas City in Kansas City and Denver.
Nah.
No. Then he says, "Don't sweep on the Patriots."
Man, we don't even know who the Patriots starting quarterback is. Is it Mac Jones or is it Bailey Zappi?
I would say Mac Jones.
Me too.
He's seasoned,
and that's why I'm not worried about the Patriots. Who are they going to throw it to? No, there are some teams that I have concerns about that I gave us wins to, Minnesota, Cleveland. You always got to be concerned about the Chargers no matter what. Chicago. I mean, there are teams that are legitimately a toss-up game where it's I don't know. You don't know what the Commanders are coming with.
Right. I will say, okay, I say we're going to go 10-6. And I said that about last
10-7.
Yeah, well, that one too. Yeah, 10-7.
Okay, who are we losing to?
First 2 games are wins. Vegas and Washington. We're winning those at home. Then we go to Miami. That's a toss-up because it's our first road game. And it's the East Coast, even though Denver's a mountain time zone. It's not 3-hour difference, it's 2, but still, it's a travel. So I'll say we lose to that one with a little question mark, but still, I'll say okay. Then we beat Chicago. Because to me, in my opinion, Chicago ain't nobody. The Jets, only because of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just throwing that in there because they're going to be all hyped up. But it's at Denver, so that's another one with the question mark. But I'll put that as a loss. At Kansas City is another loss. That's 3. We beat Green Bay. We beat Kansas City. We go to the bye week. We lose to Buffalo. That's 4. Then we lose to the Chargers at L.A. and potentially lose to Vegas at Vegas last game of the season. And it all depends. 6. That's right. Okay, so 11-6.
Okay.
Well, you keeping track?
Well, yeah, I am. I was counting on my fingers because I had enough fingers.
No, but the reason why I said, but then again, on any given Sunday, anything can happen. We all know that. I mean, a fluke here, a pass interference late in the game, a fumble, a missed field goal, anything can happen. But I'm just going by and the only reason why I said losing at Vegas is because we don't know where the Broncos are going to be at that time. I mean, are they going to be in contention for a playoff? Are the Raiders going to be in contention for a playoff? We don't know because we haven't seen anything
I don't think
yet.
it matters.
You don't think it matters?
Even if we played our 3rd string, we'd still beat the Raiders.
Wow. Wow.
You're welcome, Captain Jack.
Wow. That's That's pretty that's pretty rough right there, man. Pretty
It
rough.
happens.
All right, you got anything else before we wrap it up? Are you okay? Put it this way: are you sticking with your 13-4, or as we get closer to the actual season?
I'm sticking with 13-4, but we will review all of this again when it gets closer to when training camp's done.
I would have to hold on a second, guys. What the hell's burning in my house? My wife's over there, so maybe I smell something like something's burning. No,
Feels like it's on fire.
No, I can.
Bill, is it your loins? Are your loins burning?
No.
Or is your hearing aid smoking?
Yeah, no. Mike Kamani says his caution game are the Vikings and the Patriots and Washington. Okay, I understand the Vikings game because Vikings are pretty freaking loaded. Patriots, not so much. Why Washington? What has Washington proven in the last decade that they're worthy of being considered a threat? That's what I want to know. So throw that out there, Kamani. Give me your answer if you don't mind. And he's also says sticking with 11-6. I'll stick since I did mine. I'll stick with 11-6 as well. I do have to agree with the Kamani's comment about the Vikings. They are a solid team. They won the division last year. Aaron Rodgers was on the Patriots last year. Aaron Rodgers, the Patriots were a shell of themselves of what they have been. But still, Packers? The Packers. What did I say? Patriots?
Yeah.
I meant Packers.
I was like, no.
No, I meant Packers. But yeah, the Vikings ran the table pretty much in that division. But now that Rodgers isn't there, I don't. In my opinion, the NFC North is a Vikings division to lose because who's going to beat them? Okay, let's say Detroit beats Minnesota one time. The Bears beat Minnesota one time. Well, Green Bay ain't going to beat them. So that's only two losses in the division.
I think there's a much higher chance that Detroit wins the North than Minnesota.
What?
I think Detroit is on the way up and Minnesota's just kind of stagnant.
Wow.
And honestly, I think that's because, so listen, this is, and I selecting that. And this
that's
is
a whole story we're not going down.
This is off topic from the Broncos, but if you take Taylor Heineke and you put him on the Vikings,
there you go.
I think they win more games than if they had Kirk Cousins.
Wow. So you think Kirk Cousins is another?
Because you take Taylor
Jake Plummer?
Like you take Taylor Heineke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you combine his skill set, which is like improvisation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take and you combine that with Dalvin Cook. And then you throw that in with Justin Jefferson.
Right.
Done.
Wow. So you're saying
I think Taylor Heineke would be a better fit on the Vikings than Kirk Cousins.
So you think Kirk Cousins has pretty much reached his peak that he'll never get any higher?
I think Kirk Cousins is an older version of Jared Goff.
Wow. Well, if that's the case, then
I think Kirk Cousins is a Midwest Alex Smith.
Whoa. Yeah. Would you put Jake Plummer ahead of Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Jake the Snake.
Although Jake never made it to the Super Bowl.
I would put Kirk Cousins on the Kyle Orton level.
Wow.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Kyle Orton was a good quarterback.
Yeah, but he was basically middle of the road.
But he was limited in what he could do.
Middle of the road.
Kirk Cousins is the same thing. I think Kirk Cousins is limited as to what he can do.
How about I'm going to throw this out there. I know I'm going to get a whole lot of different reactions, but Tim Tebow better than Kirk Cousins?
No.
Come on, man.
No.
Come on, man.
No. As what? A running back?
No, I was throwing. I'd love Tim Tebow. I'd love to do. I
love Tim Tebow too, but as a quarterback, no.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to get Tebow's name in there. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders. Kamani says for the AFC West. Chiefs, Broncos. So So if he's saying, wait a minute. No, hang on a second. Kamani. I need to ask you this. If you got the Broncos going 11-6, are you saying that the Chiefs are going 12-5?
Or 13-4?
Or 13-4? And what are the Chargers? 11. No.
No, they'll probably
10,
end up
7?
being like a 9 or 10 win. If we're
Wow.
going by the normal Chargers, 9-8.
Yeah.
Hold on,
I
let me
sure
look
hope
at
so.
Kansas City.
Kansas City's. Kamani said the Chiefs are going 13-4.
Schedule 2023.
So if the Chiefs are going 13-4, the Broncos are going 11-6. Well, so Kamani, do we win? Do we
2023 schedule. Okay, hold on. So
Chargers? Yes, Chargers 8-9.
okay, so the Chiefs open versus Detroit.
Okay.
Then Jacksonville, then Chicago, then you know what? I'm just gonna pull it up here. Hold on, let me find it. Kansas City Chiefs schedule.
He says 13-4. That's what you're saying the Broncos are going to get, dude. That's crazy.
Save. Yep.
So, and he had the Chargers going 8-9. So that's anytime the Chargers can lose, I'm happy.
All right, let's see if I can. Is that share screen? Sorry, I got to talk it out, or I don't know what I'm doing. Kansas City. There we go. Got it. Boom. There we go. There's the Chiefs schedule. Okay. So I think there's the potential they drop to Detroit.
Wow. At home?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man. Holy cow.
Dude, I'm telling you, like everyone thinks of Detroit as like, oh, Detroit sucks. They used to suck. They don't anymore. I think they dropped one at Denver.
Hey, man, you're disappointing Kamani, man. He goes, where's your Mountain Dew?
Right there. I think they dropped one to Miami. I think they dropped one to Philly. I think they lose to Buffalo. And I think they lose to Cincinnati. I think they go 11-6. I think
if that's the case, Kamani has the Broncos at 11-6.
Which means they would tie, so Kansas City would have a tiebreaker in some way, probably in division record.
Right. No, I don't have any ding-dongs today, buddy.
But if we're going by my schedule, that would put Denver firmly in the lead.
Yep. Okay, one of these days, Kamani, I will go to the store. I will buy a box of ding-dongs, and I will.
I don't want to know what you're doing with it.
I'm just going to eat it.
Okay.
Or just put it aside.
Your mouth is where you eat things, not your butt. I'm just pointing that out.
For those of you who don't know, that is a.
I don't want to know.
I was gonna say, for those of you who don't know, that's
nightmares.
a show. That's a show that you'll have to go back and research. I even forgot which one that is. I may have to go back and retitle it the Ding Dong episode.
That Miami Kansas City game is in Germany.
Miami. Oh yeah, it is in Germany. Yeah,
it's in Germany.
Wow, November 5th, 9th game. That's the Broncos bye week, by the way. So we won't have a Bronco game to watch, and that game probably start at 8:30 in the morning Central Time. That's 6:30 my time. Holy cow! Good gosh, man.
I don't know. I could see the Chiefs going 13-4 too. So
yeah, that's true. Very true.
Because say what you want about the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl over the Eagles. Did you see the Eagles draft?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
Solid.
All right.
Solid. All right. You about ready to wrap this up?
I'm always ready to wrap it up.
All right, guys. I just want to thank everybody that was in the chat. First off, I want to thank Mike for being on the show. Sorry, guys, we didn't have Nick Ferguson, but we will have him.
We'll get him.
I'm looking forward to having him here in the very, very near future. Kamani, love you too, man. Glad you showed back up. Always appreciate you in the house. Always appreciate Bawani Beast, Avatar, Glenn, all you guys. Just extremely glad to have you in the show. Makes this show much better. Having the chat, and always appreciate your comments and your chiming in. Thanks so much. All right, guys. You know what the shows are on Monday through Friday. But I'll just go briefly. Monday is the cluster puck. Tuesday is the 5280, followed by the no nonsense of whiskey. Wednesday is the Wild Wild West. Thursday's what, Mike? I always forget this one. Thursday.
You forgot mainly on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, mainly. See, I forgot that one too. And
it's okay. It's just Cam. It's all right.
Oh, and Thursday's what? I forgot.
BPA
Thursday.
with
BPA.
Boggins and Pat Coyote.
Yep. So check that out too. And then again, on next Friday will be this show, Broncos Breakdown, live, like always, 5 p.m. All right, guys. Until then, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend. Thanks so much for being here. We will talk to you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.